Hi, good evening. We are here with Mr. Luigi Mercuri from the Società Dante Alighieri, which was founded with the aim to promote and protect language, Italian language of course, and culture all over the world. In fact, the Società Dante Alighieri has many offices in more than 60 countries in the world, right, with the aim of promoting language and culture and the Italian heritage. In fact, Luigi Mercuri here, Mr. Luigi Mercuri, works in the Berlin office of the Società Dante, and we will start with a few questions. I will leave my colleague with the first ones.
Thank you. We will start with some questions about your personal career. Could you tell us the reason why Società Dante Alighieri was founded and the scope and aim of your work here in Berlin?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure, and I'm glad that also the Dante is considered part of the ecosystem of cultural diplomacy, which is a choice that I highly appreciate made by you in selecting us, because we truly do that, not from a political level, but on a social and cultural level. The diplomacy that reaches the ordinary person. Talking about the Dante was born in the wake of the Risorgimento, so the time where Italy was creating our own identity, a national identity. And the culture of the Dante is directly linked to the idea of spreading the Italian culture within Italy and outside Italy. This was a tumultuous time where, as you know, of course, Italy was unifying. And through the unification, a group of high-level, high-ranking poets, writers, with a political will behind decided to found the Dante. Maybe I could also quickly, briefly say that the year where it was founded, 1889, was a particular year also because Italy had still regions that were reoccupied from Austria and had still some that were not yet under Italy's domain. So the role of promoting the culture through the language had a strategic one. The Dante Alighieri, of course, is called Dante because of him, Dante Alighieri, the sommo poeta, as we say in Italy, which is the major individual that promoted the Italian language at the beginning, that almost created it. Italian is a language which is in part culturally artificial, one could say, and the Divine Comedy, which he wrote, is the base, the foundation of our cultural identity in terms of language.
Sure. Thank you. Sure. What do you find most challenging and stimulating about your work?
Well, the Dante Alighieri is a society which is spread through the world, as you said correctly, over 60 offices, with a headquarter in Rome. But since 1948, the foreign chapters are technically independent. We oblige, of course, to guidelines and to trends that are suggested by our headquarters, but we each have our own life. So I would say the most challenging element is to find a balance between the local independence and, of course, adapting to a common standard that should be protected as well.
Thank you. Could you tell us something about the formative offer of your association?
Absolutely. The Dante Alighieri Berlin offers a wide range of courses, Italian courses mainly, but also excursions. For example, we have excursions into the Berliner museums, and we go, for instance, on the search of Italian famous artists and identify them within the collections that are available in Berlin. We offer also different kinds of activities for children. We think that we have a role also as social glue here in Germany. There are many children that are of mixed heritage or that are born here of Italian heritage that would like to keep a connection with their own culture and their traditions and language, of course. The list is very long, but I would definitely say that every aspect of the social life of an individual in terms of utilization of the language for its purposes is covered by the Dante Alighieri in Berlin.
Thank you, that's really interesting. Yeah.
We know your association also organizes events. Could you tell us more about the next upcoming event?
Absolutely. I'm very glad that you posed this question. The next event is actually this Friday on the 28th of October, and it's called Opera and Spritz. And it will take place inside the beautiful library of our headquarters in Berlin. And it's an event dedicated to classical opera music and Italian food. So it's a combination of arias sang by young opera artists and singers in this beautiful neo-Gothic library. And at the end we will offer different Italian foods and of course spritz, as the name Opera and Spritz reveals. But what's also important is the topic. The group of artists is called Puccini's Toaster. It's a young independent ensemble of singers that has chosen as leitmotif for this evening brief encounters. And brief, which is a double meaning with brief in German, which is letter, because it's taking place in a library.
Thank you, it sounds very nice. What reasons did you decide to become part of this cultural association?
Well, first of all, you're all invited to participate, so you will see how nice it is with your own hands and eyes. What was the process? I have a different background originally. I come from the internationalization and business consulting world. I work at the Dante as a free individual without compensation for the appreciation of the Italian language and culture, as all the other members do. We are no profit society. And I used to work at the Italian Embassy's trade agency, so I was promoting Italy already on the business side in the technology sector. And through friends I heard about the Dante, participated at events, and the president and vice president met me regularly at the events until they needed a third support inside the decision-making body, and that's how I entered. And my goal was to bring also an entrepreneurial element to the Dante, to bring it back to its glory times.
How important do you think the role of Società Dante Alighieri is?
I think it's crucial. And this doesn't apply only to us as Dante Alighieri, so promoting Italian language and culture. This applies for any association that has as a goal the promotion of a culture in a non-conflictual way, of course. The work that high diplomacy does, state meetings, global summits, regulations of trade agreements, immigration agreements are of course crucial. But the true integration and tolerance can only happen at a base level, at a grassroots level. And I think that institutions like this one are the fundamental key to enable acceptance and tolerance. And the Italian community in Germany used to be a group of migration origin that integrated itself very well, also thanks to organizations as this one.
Thank you. I have a last question about your personal career. What do you think is the most important achievement of your association?
Well, the most important achievement of the association, in my opinion, is the endurance. We were here already before the war, and after the war it was refounded in 1956, so we had our 60th anniversary this year, and we managed to go across time to the support of individuals that simply were helping for the purpose of promoting culture with no personal interest until today, and surviving also through difficult diplomatic times like the Cold War here in Berlin. So I think endurance, perseverance, and enabling tolerance and acceptance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And since we are obviously in the Berlin office of the Società Dante, I would like to ask you, how do you think that the relations between Germany and Italy changed over the years, and how is the Società Dante Alighieri promoting culture in this sense?
Very good question. I think the relations between Italy and Germany are phenomenal, both on a cultural and on a political and business side. Germany is Italy's first and import and export partner. This means there's a vastity of companies that work together to produce products and services together. 30% of most Mercedes have Italian components, for instance. At the same time, there's a cultural understanding. Many founding pillars of the German literary culture are born in Italy. From Goethe to Schiller, Italy was the example, the base where to start and bring back classicism. So German neoclassicism is born out of Italy, and also the Renaissance, which is crucial in any kind of university study in Germany, the classical culture. On plus, the immigration. The Italians in Germany are the second largest community. The interaction through tourism. The Germans in Italy are the largest community of tourists. So I think our two countries are the two most integrated in Europe. And I have the feeling sometimes that the press doesn't acknowledge it enough.
Thank you. And since we're dealing with culture, I would like to ask you, what is cultural diplomacy, according to you? And moreover, how can we use cultural diplomacy between Italy and Germany to strengthen the relation?
To me, cultural diplomacy is the ability to offer, as an enabler, a bridge between cultures. A bridge between culture can be constructed in various ways, in various materials, in various environments, but the purpose is similar. Is to bring civil society together, and by bringing them together, making them know each other and find out they're not that very different in the end. And actually appreciating even more the differences, because that's the peculiarity.
Sure. And since we understand that cultural diplomacy might be a tool for conflict resolution and to promote multiculturalism, I would like to ask you if you can give an example of a particular time where you were involved in an interesting and successful cultural dialogue.
Absolutely. Our cultural dialogue, I think, starts from the bottom and goes to the top. As I said before, from courses for children that learn Italian here on the weekends or in other occasions, to university professors coming here and exchanging their opinion. For example, there was recently a presentation about Goethe and Dante, how they've been misused mainly in the past for national purposes. So I think rather than give you a simple example, I give you a trend. The prisma of the Dante reflects the light of tolerance in different ages and different spectrum of society. And that's what we do.
It's very interesting because tolerance is very important in the globalized world we live in. So I would like to ask you what you think the role of cultural diplomacy would be in the world we are living in right now.
I think it's more and more crucial. And I believe that globalization, social media, internet, traveling are enabling a mass of informal cultural diplomacy that we cannot even quantify yet, and we don't see the results directly. But the world is going towards, in a way, a path of informal cultural diplomacy which is available to anyone, and at the same time, people are scared of it. So I believe globalization is full of tools of cultural diplomacy that go beyond activities such as the Dante, but organized cultural diplomacy is still needed because it's the only way to give structure to a process.
Thank you. And given your personal career, what advice would you feel to give to some young people that want to pursue a career in the cultural field?
Well, not coming from a mainly cultural background, I would say that my perspective on things is a bit different. In Italy, recently, policymakers have been talking a lot about promoting more and putting more value on the fantastic cultural resources that we're lucky to have. And I think that's very important. So the entrepreneurial aspect of culture is key to maintenance and promotion. Many operators that work in the field of cultural association or institutions often lack know-how in this aspect. And the integration between cultural know-how and entrepreneurial know-how, I think it's the best match.
Thank you very much. In conclusion to this interview, is there something you would like to add? Something about Italian heritage or something that you just feel like adding?
Yes, I would like to add that we just have concluded the Italian Language Week, which was last week. And it's fantastic to see how the Italian language is re-emerging. Even though there are no apparent geopolitical reasons to learn Italian. We haven't had a fantastic colonial history. Yes, we're spread out through the world, but mainly through integrated Italians that speak also the local language. So what I really like to say to also the viewers is that if you choose to learn Italian, it's only for the love of culture. There is no hidden interest, there is no secondary objective. And that's what makes it so nice at the Dante. People who come here truly come for the passion of culture.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the time and
Thank
the
you.
interview.
It was my pleasure.
It was our pleasure as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.